The infinite monkey theorem states that a monkey hitting keys randomly on a typewriter keyboard for an infinite amount of time will almost surely type any given text, including the complete works of William Shakespeare. It's a hypothetical meant to demonstrate that complexity can emerge out of randomness given an unlimited amount of time. But it's just that, a hypothetical. It's not something you can actually test because you'd need an immortal monkey and an infinite amount of time, among other practical concerns. But what if I told you there is a real-world analog to this hypothetical? A corner of the internet that gets just about as close to a simulation of thousands of monkeys typing away aimlessly, communicating nonsense to nobody. What if I told you it's XQC's Twitch chat?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Something 2. Something 2. 2, 1.
XQC's chat is a great candidate for this experiment for a number of reasons. For starters, out of all chat rooms on the internet, I would argue XQC's chat is probably the least intelligible, meaning that it's probably as close as we can get to pure randomness as anywhere else in the real world. On top of that, the sheer number of messages typed in XQC's chat is genuinely astounding. For every minute of the day for the past few years, somebody has typed a message in XQC's chat. Okay, I made that statistic up, but if you go into XQC's chat right now, I swear to you, you will see somebody type a message in the next 60 seconds, no matter if he's offline or streaming on another website that will not be named. Additionally, since XQC has been a top creator for many years, there's a huge chat history that most other creators don't have, because they just haven't been streaming as long as him. The data collection tools I could find go the furthest back for XQC, giving his chat the highest likelihood of having communicated something intelligent, even if by complete accident. Remember, the longer the time scale, the higher likelihood that something complex will arise out of randomness. All right, here's how we're going to test this.
Chat.
Thanks to the awesome open...
Chat, what if somebody hid something of massive value in the chat, but it's hidden?
source project JustLog, I have access to every message sent in XQC's chat since late April of 2019. Unfortunately, I don't have access to any messages sent before then because nobody was collecting that data except for maybe Twitch, so I'm going to work with what we have. Thankfully, this project provides an easy-to-use API to download chat logs. So I did. I downloaded all of them. Every single one. The file of every single message sent in XQC's chat from late April of 2019 to early October of 2020.
Chat, you also uploaded it to a directory, right? With your name cross-referenced, okay? And if you apply for a job, they get a direct upload of your chat log to the employer.
Which
I think is going to be good for you, right?
Gigabytes in size. You'll see in a little bit how this will be a major problem. For benchmarking, I'll be using Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet to see how close they are to completing the works of Shakespeare.
Julia and Romeo, motherfucker? Dude, isn't that a book?
I also included the entire Bible because I thought it would be funny. Luckily, text files for all of these are readily available thanks to Project Gutenberg. Shout out. The first step in this process was to convert each story's text file into an individual list of words, eliminating all punctuation except for apostrophes. We'll turn the text file of Romeo and Juliet that looks like this into a text file that looks like this.
That makes sense,
how do we measure how close the chat is to even matching these works of art? I decided to go with a relatively straightforward approach. Every unique word in a story gets one chat message to represent it. This means we only need one person to have typed an instance of each word for it to count towards the goal. But here's the catch. The message needs to only contain the unique word that we're looking for. For example, if we want to represent the word Romeo, we need someone to have just sent a chat message of only the word Romeo and nothing else. Like our good friend Tryhard Rich AF did on April 28th, 2019. The drawback here is that we're probably going to miss some of the lesser known and lesser used Shakespearean words like from Old English, but we'll get this really cool visualization where we'll have...
If I were to guess, it's whenever we made the fake meme that that Mox's name was Romeo. And if I just typed it.
The stories of William Shakespeare written out
Anthony Romeo, I call them.
All right, now that we've got the basic idea down, we need to talk about the 190 gigabyte elephant in the room. How do we efficiently comb through every Twitch chat message sent in XQC's chat? I tried programming a ton of different solutions to solving this problem, all of which were unbelievably slow and would take like literally weeks to finish. It turns out 190 gigabytes of text is a lot of text. That's more than the recommended installation size of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, which includes a detailed map of the entire world. We're going to need some real power to do this efficiently. So here's a 128 core computer. Don't ask me why or how I have access to this. Using Python's multiprocessing library, we essentially spin up a bunch of little programs and tell them that they have one job: find the first instance of a unique word used in the story we're looking for. Originally, I tried doing this with all sorts of complicated libraries and search tools and whatnot, but the simplest solution was a single command line tool. grep is a program created in 1973 that makes it really quick to search for text in a file. This underscores the cardinal rule in computer programming. If you can't figure out how to do something, somebody else way smarter than you probably figured it out 50 years ago. Now, with the knowledge of the ancients, we tell each little program we spun up to call grep on a particular word and find the earliest instance of that word in the logs. The result was miraculous. I could see in real time how XQC chat messages were being matched up to real words, and I could also see how unbelievably cruel I was being to this poor computer. In a few years, when the singularity happens, I think this might be illegal. The plays of Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet each took a little over an hour to complete, while the Bible took about 7 hours. As a wise man once said, there's probably a faster way to do this, and I don't care. So without further ado, I present to you the results. This is the entirety of Romeo and Juliet spelled out by XQC chat messages. Before we get into the accuracy of this work, I'd love to show you a couple cool pieces of info I found along the way. If you look at the dates of most of the messages sent, you'll see many of them happen in April or May of 2019, which makes sense because the most common words were typed pretty early on in the dataset. Our dataset starts in April of 2019. For example, the first instance of the most common English word, the, was sent on April 23rd of 2019, less than a day after our dataset starts. However, this does not mean that every match was found in 2019. We have a couple of matches that showed up as late as October of 2024, like while I was working on this. Another interesting fact is that XQC himself appears multiple times in this, being the first instance of the words dry, over, and pour. I'm not going to bother figuring out the context of that line.
I didn't touch
With this file, though, we can use it to spell out some of the most iconic scenes in Romeo and Juliet.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir? I do bite my thumb, sir! Do you bite your thumb at us? Sir. Is love our side if I say I? No!
But now, the question you've all been waiting for. How close was XQC's chat to completing these stories? I'll start with the least accurate one. Of the 31,991 words in Hamlet, XQC's chat missed only 2,551, meaning they are 92.03% of the way to completing this work. Yes, this is our least accurate benchmark, I promise. Similarly, of Macbeth's 18,474 words, XQC's chat missed only 1,321 of them,
so close.
Meaning they are 92.85% of the way to finishing this play. Even more impressively, for the 25,922 words in all of Romeo and Juliet, just 1,472 were not said, meaning the chat is just 94.32% of the way through that story. That is insane. And finally, for the Bible's absurd 802,246 words, 40,923 were not said, meaning they are an astounding 94.90% of the way.
Chat, that would be just because the message didn't only include that one word. But let's be honest, this is probably overlapped by a long shot.
Arguably one of the most influential pieces of human text ever written. Just a mere 5.1% of words were left unsaid. Of course, these last missing words are things that are very unlikely to have come up in a Twitch chat. Most commonly, Old English words like moveth or mammoth or exeunt. This means completing these stories to 100% efficiency is really difficult, meaning it's very, very unlikely someone in XQC's chat will ever type.
No way. All it would take, right, is for a dialogue in a game, right, that have old language, which we probably had a bunch, and some guy to type one of the messages, right? And just hit enter before out of some glitch, which is probably a lot of these words were because somebody clicked enter before he finished the sentence.
one of these words. You might think that it would be a good idea for me to hop in
Like
the chat
Dark
and
Souls.
type a few thousand words and go, oh, look, we hit 100% completion on all of these works, but I feel like that's a little unfair. I mean, it would be like Shakespeare hopping on the typewriter and shoving the monkey aside and finishing the works when they were like 95% of the way there. I feel like that fundamentally undermines the purpose of this exercise. Ultimately, I think it's really remarkable how close a community of no-life, shut-in, foul-smelling, basement-dwelling, doom-scrolling, terminally online, mouth-breathing, greasy-fingered, and socially stunted man-child losers have gotten to recreating some of the most important texts in all of human history. So instead, my dearest monkeys, I hand this one off to you. Instead of brute forcing my way to completing these stories in XQC's Twitch chat, I say let the people decide. If you feel like typing the word equivocation into XQC's chat, then so be it. If you feel like going into the description of this video and finding a list of words that haven't been said in Hamlet and typing them into XQC's chat, that is your God-given right. If you want to hit 100% completion on Romeo and Juliet, that's up to you. I don't think it's fair that it's my call. I think it should be yours. So with that, I say, Godspeed, my little monkeys.
Interesting. That's a good video. I enjoyed that. Nullport. Couple takeaways though for the video though. If you want to reach a wider audience, is I'm not gonna bother.